Stamping asphalt is the foundation for many of Integrated Paving Concepts products. It all revolves around stamping a pattern made of wire rope or plastic into a heated asphalt surface using a reversible plate compactor. The desired template is placed on reference points that are laid in advance and pushed into a softened asphalt surface. Stamping is critical to the performance and aesthetics of the products and requires templates to be stamped to full depth. An easy indication that the template is stamped to depth is you should not be able to feel it with your feet. Stamping to full depth over the entire project is a very important part of installation. Properly heated asphalt will accept the intended template slowly and gently and will minimize the stress on the template, the plate compactor, and the asphalt. Grout lines should be somewhat rounded and stable. Rounded, stable edges will require stamping at an appropriate temperature. If the asphalt isn't heated enough and stamped at too low of a temperature, it will not stamp. Instead, the force of the plate compactor can crush aggregates in the asphalt and can lead to stress cracking. It will shorten the lifespan of the templates and the plate compactor and will most likely need to be reheated and stamped again. So spending the proper amount of time and placing enough heat in the asphalt will save you time in the long run. When the asphalt is heated and stamped at too high of a temperature, the templates cut through the asphalt with no resistance and cause sharp, unstable grout lines, which could lead to surface imperfections and chipping. Rounded edges will be stable and are referred to as a proper stamp. Template density and stamping force need to be considered to achieve a proper stamp, but controlling temperatures needs to be understood first. Water is important to help control temperatures. Using a little water can reduce scuffing and asphalt pickup on templates and plate compactors. In short, it can help stabilize the softened asphalt surface. A mist of water when placed in the plate compactor drive path and overlap can help control asphalt temperatures and will assist in getting a proper stamp. Of course, the more water, the faster it will cool. Most of the time, a very fine mist of water is all that is needed at the start and can be used more aggressively when the template is 90% of the way stamped. Using water sparingly and immediately before the plate compactor hits is good practice, as being aggressive with water too soon usually cools the surface too quickly. The necessity of water and the amount needed will vary, but it is an easy way to control surface temperatures. For proper stamping to take place, the size of the plate compactor is important. Large plate compactors will be needed on commercial and government work, while smaller plate compactors are better suited to residential and pedestrian type applications. This is because the asphalt mix design differs, and the more stable asphalt found in higher traffic volumes requires additional force to stamp. Movement of the plate compactor also affects stamping. The slower the plate compactor moves, the more stamping force it will produce. Moving the plate compactor a little faster when temperatures are at their hottest, like when you first start, then slowing down as it cools is common in order to get a quality stamp. Between the heat, water, and plate compactor, it's a little bit of a balancing act, but the end result needs to be a stable grout line stamped to depth. Understanding the heat area is important, as there may be hot and cold spots which may affect stamping. The front and back of the heater may get less heat, which will require you to stamp first or spend more time in these areas. Heating overlaps can cause extreme hot spots, which will need to be understood, or the template will potentially bury itself in these areas. Stamping inside the heated area is critical as well, so always be aware of what is happening in your heating area. Understanding the template you will be using is important to the asphalt stamping process. Duratherm uses a plastic template, while StreetPrint and StreetPrint XD use wire rope templates. Even though these templates are completely different, they generally share the same stamping characteristics: density and ease of distortion. Pattern density refers to how much wire or plastic needs to be pushed into the asphalt. The denser the template, the more force and heat softening needed to properly stamp. A great example is this Eurofan template. Not only is it a very dense template, but areas of this template are denser than others, which may require more force in these areas to get a proper stamp. This can be achieved by running the plate compactor slower over these areas, which puts more force on the template for a longer period of time. Template density sometimes plays a role in the last stamping characteristic, distortion. Distortion can cause issues when stamping, such as lack of rigidity and stretching. Open patterns that have long runs of wire are extremely difficult to stamp, as the wire rope tends to move under the weight of the plate compactor. Lighter plate compactors should be used, and setting the template using a hand tamp may be critical to limit the movement and distortion during installation. Even though these low-density templates are often shipped with steel strapping attached to limit movement, it should be understood that open patterns distort easily and are difficult to work with. Care needs to be taken to ensure proper installation. Some patterns, such as offset brick, have longer lengths of wire that add stability to the template, making them rigid. These templates tend to be the easiest patterns to work with, as they are less likely to distort when you are stamping. Popular templates, such as diagonal herringbone and Astra slate, tend to be less rigid due to the shorter lengths of wire used. These patterns can be a little more difficult to work with, as they are more likely to distort and cause alignment issues. Layout and placement are critical using these types of templates. So understanding the template or templates you are using is very important for stamping. They all stamp differently dependent on density, and they can stretch and distort if you're not careful. Know how they work and understand the challenges before you get to the job. When moving the template for placement, have two people lift opposite ends of the template. Walk towards each other until only a small section of the template remains on the ground or in the grout line. With one hand high and one hand low, lift the template straight up and move to the desired location. Place the template the exact same way as removed, placing the middle section of the template in the interlock and gently letting it fall in place. If interlocking from the side, place into the pattern interlock and simply walk back so it falls in place. In both situations, make final adjustments and double check that the pattern is placed correctly on the reference lines. Avoid dragging the template on the hot surface, as it can scuff and not only show through the finished product as a different surface texture, but can also weaken the asphalt surface. Softer, sandier mix designs will be less stable and can be more prone to scuffing when hot, and they can also stick to your feet as you're placing. A fine mist of water on less stable mixes may reduce a lot of these issues. Always double check to ensure the template is placed properly on layout lines before stamping. Once stamped, it becomes difficult to repair.